art is my apparatus, and I think it says that somewhere on my site, like art is my apparatus to make sense of the world, like to make all these concepts like feel organized to me. So like it really isn't like I'm just in here drawing faces to make them cute. Like it's really not. People really wouldn't know that, but like I'm really in here like trying to figure something out.
Meet Dezzy Jones, a multidisciplinary artist, writer, and documentarian based in Jacksonville, Florida. I recently sat down with her for a conversation that started with one simple question. Is finding an art style really the secret to making it as an artist? What followed was an eye-opening, raw, and inspiring dialogue that I cannot wait to share with you. This continues the conversation from my previous video, Do I Need to Find an Art Style?, where I spoke with two local amazing artists about the pressures to define their style in order to be considered successful in the industry. If you're an artist or a creative that is interested in knowing what fuels other artists behind the scenes, I highly recommend checking out the last two videos after this one. We dive into their thought process, inspirations, and tools that have helped them along the way. Thank you so much for being here, and go ahead and grab your food, your drinks, and let's get into it.
I hope this is this good?
I think so. That should be good. Besides like you meeting with creatives, have you done anything that you feel like it's made you more open to your creativity or your work?
How do you mean?
I feel like that was very generous. Like, has there been an event going on that's inspired you more into your work?
Okay, I'm interpreting this question just for clarity. Like I'm interpreting this question kind of just like, has anything in life kind of inspired me or kind of like influenced my art in this period? Does that kind of sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like I'm working on just different intrinsic things. Like if you look at my YouTube channel, like how I'm documenting my thoughts, like all of that stuff goes into my pieces. So as I feel like I'm like just learning more about myself and trying to learn more about just like how I think and mechanisms that just like I'm just learning more about myself, and I try to put those things into my pieces to like solidify and like leave a marker on like this date and time. Mm-hmm. So like I'm 25, the things that I'm learning about now, like the same way like you take a photo to like mark where you were at that time, I just kind of like try to like bake them into my pieces.
Yeah.
So life be life.
Yeah, it does. I really just love your pieces because for one, like I've never looked up at it really close, and to look at it really close, like it's a lot of cool marks and just like, I don't know, like a stylization that goes on. So are you pushing a certain style with the pieces you're doing now?
That's interesting. So yes and no. Mostly no, but at the same time, I'm aware and cognizant of this style that's been emerging. And I, as an artist, like I recognize that like I'm becoming more and more associated with certain styles. Kind of like I said about how my art is a reflection of like different stuff I'm just figuring out internally.
Yeah.
Like this scratchiness is like a direct representation of like tension. Like that's what it means for me. So like the idea of like taking something chaotic and tension and there's like, we can go into so many things because it's a lot that goes into it. But like for me, things like motion and like repetitive, like rhythmic motion, that's like an apparatus for me. You'll hear me say that a lot. That's like an apparatus or a mechanism for me to release tension. Right. So when I come to a piece and I'm like you don't see it, you just see kind of like the aftermath of the piece or maybe a time-lapse video, but that really like cuts out like what's really happening. But it's really just like a monotonous like letting out of tension.
Yeah.
And for me, it feels good when like I let out a bunch of tension and it comes together into a piece that people see as like a face or a person.
Right.
So it's like, oh, like that's a style, like it's so detailed, but it's like, no, bro, I'm trying to survive.
I feel you. Yes.
And it just makes me feel good to feel like, okay, like I can be stressed and have tension and it's gonna turn into something nice. Like it's gonna turn into something that people understand. So it's just like, it's my way of like making the world okay in the sense that like, even when stuff's a lot, like it can come together to be something that people are like, wow, that's cool. So
it's like organized chaos.
Exactly.
Like good.
Exactly. Like that's exactly what it is. And like for me, when I hear style, it makes me think of the end result. like the end result of what your art looks like. Yeah. But it's like, the thing is, what you're really looking for is what's your way of making art, of how you connect, and then it'll ultimately end up at your style. Right. So it's like, what's your way? Like what's your way that you come and approach the work? What makes you get into flow? Like, what's your thing? And like, that's what we focus. It's kind of like focusing on the process.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the core of it anyways. Like, once you get into that process and you're able to flow into it better, like you don't, let's just say there's a day when you're not feeling it or you're just feeling a bit uninspired, at least you know how to get back into that motion. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why I think learning your way and your mechanism is like the best thing ever, because it's like, when you fall off, if you know your mechanism, you can just put the things back in place. My puppy's crying. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on, buddy. I planned for this.
I'm sorry.
I learned, so my whole philosophy, if you came in, I have a chalk wall, and at the top it says, in search of the apparatus, and I have a bunch of writings just about this idea. So you'll notice, like, I'm always like, the apparatus, and throughout my day, I'm like, what's the apparatus here? What's the apparatus here? And for me, what that means is just like the mechanism, like, what is the mechanism to solve this problem? What is the mechanism to make this thing easier? For me, like, art is my apparatus, and I think it says that somewhere on my site, like, art is my apparatus to make sense of the world, like to make all these concepts like feel organized to me. So like, it really isn't like I'm just in here drawing faces to make them cute. Like, it's really not. People really wouldn't know that. But like, I'm really in here like trying to figure something out, and making the piece is like the road to figuring that thing out. And when you said chaos, it's like, okay, I'm going on off tangent, but this is why I brought up apparatus, because when you said chaos and controlled chaos, I learned, as I've been learning more about my art and my practice and my apparatus, I learned that like, in order for me to get into a piece and to like it, it has to have an element, it has to start with chaos. Like anything I do, and I realize it's across the board for not just visual arts, it's the same thing for film, it's the same thing for music, it's the same thing for writing. Like, if I want to write an essay, if I want to write a song, if I want to do anything, it has to start with this element of like chaos and freedom. So I need chaos. I need to feel like, at least to get started, it's like, which is completely free. And then I like to take this mess of raw materials and then etch it, sculpt it, and make something out of it. Like, so I want to start kind of crazy and then like whittle it down, and then like organize it.
Your chaos, I mean like your thoughts, like maybe organize ideas?
So sort of. So like for me, for a piece, for example, I would like to start like, if I know ultimately a piece is going to be super detailed, but like to start, I just want to not think about where things are going. Like, I just want to start with lines everywhere, start wild and chaotic, and then start dialing in and make it more detailed as I go. Right. And then like with a song, for example, like I want to start with chaos. I want to start with no structure. I want to start with just like writing thoughts. They don't have to rhyme. They don't have to go together. They don't have to connect. I just want to dump it on a paper, let it be chaos. And then next phase, go through and see what works and piece it together, just like an art piece. Same thing if I'm trying to start with like a scene or write a scene. It's like, I want to start with the theme or the feelings or the emotions I'm trying to communicate, and like just put all these raw materials on a paper, and then phase 2, come back and like, okay, what do we have? Organize it together. I've just noticed like in all of my disciplines, I've kind of found that pattern in me, that like that's my apparatus, and learning that has helped me in all the areas of my life. So like even in, like I'm a digital marketing specialist, so I work in a marketing agency, and like I work in sales too. So like sometimes I have a task that I need to do, and it's like hard to know where to start. And then I'm just like, wait, what's my apparatus? Like, and I learned it from my art, and I can apply it in sales and know that, okay, then I need to start by like allowing chaos right now, and then I'll clean it up later. I don't know what your question was. I have no idea what your question.
That's exactly what I needed. Okay.
What was the question?
Do you think finding your style or your voice is an active process, or is it something that comes naturally?
That's funny, because I wrote a question for someone else. I wrote like that exact question today for somebody else. I think naturally, I think it varies from person to person, but I think both for me. I think both. I think the best case of this for me is when it's natural. Like when every artist loves like when you just get inspired and you could just flow and float on that inspiration.
Right.
It like takes you throughout the duration of a whole piece or something. So sometimes, and it ebbs and flows because there was a point in time, certain duration of months last year where I felt like I was entering this new space and all this like new natural ways of drawing. I started just speed sketching, and through speed sketching, I started to see like how I like to flow and use the pen. And then I started to create these like faces in a particular way. And I just kind of developed a style, I guess. And that was natural. Like that was just like natural. And like my dad specifically like always laughs at like how like I use very strong like Afrocentric features. And he like, oh, there go that nose, there go the lips. Like he's always like laughing at my pieces and stuff. And that comes natural. Like he always talks about how like, he's like, wow, these features are so embedded in your psyche that you're not even trying to create them, but like they just come out. And he's always saying that to me. And like, he's always making me aware that my faces look a certain way because I'm just making faces, you know? So in that way, I think it's a natural process. But at the same time, I think, at least for me, and this could be a blockage, this could be like not a great thing. Sometimes I grapple between, as an artist, how much of my responsibility it is to be active in the process, you know? Because part of me is just like, oh, if I'm being too active, I'm straining, I'm trying too much, it's getting in the way of the art. Like you're trying to manipulate it. So on that one hand, I'm like, okay, then I need to just fall back and like be passive.
Right.
But then on the other vein of that, it's like, I want to grow. I want to grow into a professional artist. So I don't want to just be passive. Like, I think there's a line where when you like go into the threshold of professionalizing, there is a like character of refinement that needs to be built. Like you need to be more active. You need to like apply yourself, think about it. So it's really hard because it feels like this push and pull of me sometimes feeling like, okay, I need to do less and not think about it and just let it come. And then the other times where I'm like, no, I feel like I need to do more and not try to rely on inspiration. You need to show up and do the practice and see what, and like try to create something. And both of those places, sometimes I feel tension, I feel stress. Like, I don't know if that's just, I'm still an emerging baby growing artist. So like, I'm still really dealing with tension across the spectrum. So I don't, probably not what you needed to hear. But yeah, it's definitely both. It's definitely, I hate that I feel like I'm riding the fence on all your questions.
No, you're not.
Okay.
I feel like what you're saying, it's that balance that you have to maintain.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sometimes you might want to try different styles and see how that feels and develop it. And then sometimes you just might just want to do something because you feel like it, not necessarily wanting to make something unique or.
Exactly. I want to find that sweet spot where it's like, it's natural. And then once you like catch what's natural, you run with it,
right?
You know, and expound on it. That's what I'm working toward. So,
do you think that the media influences people to find a style?
We live in a world, like we live in a world where everyone can see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. And
you can see in real time people be validated for what they're doing or not. So that's just basic. And with everything, I think there's levels to it. With everything that you do, there's going to be levels to it, and there's going to be like levels of mindset and how you come to the practice. So there's going to be like across the spectrum, every type of person, every type of artist. There are going to be outliers of artists who are insanely talented but don't like draw reference from any other artist. And there are going to be people who are insanely talented but happen to draw reference from a lot of people and are like not fully in their flow. Then there are going to be people who like, there's going to be every person in between. There are going to be some people who are just like trying to go to do what's popular and see if they can get by and get, you know what I mean? Then there are going to be people who don't care at all about that. There are going to be people in the middle who go back and forth. Like there's going to be everything. It's like art is like anything else. And I could totally see like, I don't know what the media would be pushing people to kind of make. But I mean, I think that's just across the board. Like if you look back at like, I think it was Hume's Standard of Taste, which was like an old essay, or one of my friends was talking to me just about like art history and you know how there's just like different waves and societal waves and different things that the collective is interested in resonating with, and the artists are kind of like riding on that wave. Now, is that to say that they aren't being true? They aren't being themselves, or are they just being part of the culture that they are part of? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to know because we are a collective, you know, and like I see, and some ways it feels natural, in some ways it feels artificial, but like I see a lot of people connecting to the same philosophies, themes, and principles right now. So I see a lot of people resonating together, saying the same messages, the same kind of thing. That's just how we move, that's how we flow. Mm-hmm. So of course artists are like emulating those ideologies, those political views, those feelings and philosophies, like everyone's singing the same song and they are really resonate. They really do resonate with it. But then there are also some artists who are just like, oh, everyone's talking about that, I'm talking about that. So like, it really, I'm riding the fence again on another question, but like, it literally is both. And that's the thing about art. You can talk about it infinitely, but art is just representative of everything. Yeah. So everything's gonna fall under the umbrella always. I've experienced conflict in my own art in this sense, because when you have conflicting like drives or conflicting motivations, like one of the things that I really have just kind of like battled is this frustration between like what my heart wants, like what I really want, and then this other side of what I feel like I'm supposed to do. Yes. And it's like on that point right there. You know what I mean? Yes. And they fight each other, but I'm doing everything I can to make this first one win and get stronger and stronger and just like keep validating that like, no, like let go of it, let go. It's what your heart wants. So like the mind is going to keep you know, kind of posing those questions to me, like what you should be doing. But like, I'm really trying to just build up that muscle to just know to ignore that. Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Like when it comes to you feeling like you have that silent pressure of sticking to, you know, what people are comfortable with you doing? Yeah.
I think the first and the best thing you can do is just recognize it. And I don't know if you've read The Creative Act yet. It's so, I need to. Every artist has referred it to me, and I finally picked it up like a year and a half ago, by Rick Rubin. And that book literally, I could not get away from that book. Right. Everyone was telling me to read it, and then I just started randomly watching a bunch of like Rick Rubin interviews and podcasts where he was promoting his book. I didn't even realize he was promoting the book, and I was just like, oh wow, guess I should read it. And it's amazing. I recommend it to every artist if you haven't read it. But his core philosophy, and that I've taken to heart from the book, is just, as an artist, our responsibility is to protect the practice and to protect the space. So when things try to infiltrate and are like, you know, like you're writing a song or you're making a piece and you're at a crossroads and you can go one of two directions, and one of your considerations is, oh, but like people would love if I did this way, or like, oh, this will pop off or snap if I go that way, or whatever. And it's at those moments where it's like, no, like it's at those moments where it's like you have to be like you have to like notice it, and just like a little bit. not really, because it's normal. We're people, we're social creatures, but like at the end of the day, it just depends on like, you know, what resonates with you. Because, for example, if I have a consideration or thought like that when I'm working on a piece, I get annoyed. I'm like, ugh, I don't like that. Like, and then I like work to go back to my flow. But then there are also artists who like literally just try to do what people like. And that's their art form. Yeah. But if you look at it, you can peel back and be like, that's their art form. Their art form is like making bangers to the political, like to what people like. You can say that's their art form. It's just like, I make stuff that's gonna pop off and make mainstream culture go, yay, that's my art.
That reminds me, you know, like nothing against these like artists that do this, but like people that only draw pop culture figures and their art just skyrockets. You know, like I saw someone call it like the fan art, like loophole hack or whatever. And I have a very interesting relationship with that in particular, because like I worked in 2019, before I went to college. I was making like a bunch of digital art for people, and I worked with like different artists. So I made like some merch for like Trevor Wallace and like B5 and like different political activists and stuff like this. Yeah. And
the way I got those opportunities was from one, I had just discovered Procreate and digital art. And my mom, I was like, yo, I started doing the drawings for like $10 on my phone. I bought a stylus. And so I started, and then it spiraled and people started asking. I was like, okay, I'll do $25, $50, something that just like it skyrocketed. And then I got an iPad, and but then I started attracting other people who were doing like tours and all this stuff and album covers, and I started doing that. But part of my strategy wasn't to paint huge public figures, but like I would have 10 commissions to do that week, and I would do 10, but I would always put 2 more in to like illustrate not political figures, people, like a following. It was part of my growth strategy to keep the pipeline of people coming in. And that's when I was 19, and I wasn't into art yet at all. Like, I was really just like, oh shit, like, you know, I was just vibing. I didn't have any connection to the art. I didn't have any, I don't know. It's my fault, because I wanted to distract him, so I put this little thing. You good? I put this little thing that he can play tug with so that he can be distracted, but now he's...
Oh, he's back. He on the cave?
I put him in his crate. Okay. If he wasn't in his crate, he'd be on you right now. I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about...
Yikes. Oh, got it. Fan art and drawing. We got it.
Your strategy.
We're good. Yeah, that I was like, I had no connection to it. Mm-hmm. However, like, and then you know, there's this kind of flack about fan art and stuff like that. And I really do get that. Like, I really do get it in a way when you're just doing it to blow up. But for me, where I find difficulty as a portrait artist who, like, I obviously love and I'm obsessed with portraiture and faces and essences. And so when I genuinely love an artist or I admire someone, I want to draw them. Like, I really do. Like my favorite artist is Lil Sims. Yes. I want to do a huge tribute to her. And like that piece right there is Black Sam. He is a lyricist, but like there are some icons. Malachi, hush. No, sir. No. He's like, oh, I'm a mom in here. Like,
it's the fact that he's actually listening.
No, like, he knows he'd be getting in trouble. How he finished that peanut butter, damn. Anyway, yeah, like there are some people that I really do want to draw. Like, I really do want to make a piece for them. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, then I have to worry about, like how some people view it of like, oh, she's drawing a celebrity to try to pop off. And it's like, no, I really like them. Like, up there, Olivia Dean is one of my favorite. You can barely see it.
I see it, yeah.
But that's Olivia Dean. She's like one of my favorite singers. I love her lyricism. I love how she writes. Mm-hmm. Like, there are just some artists that I really appreciate. And I just like want to listen to their stuff or take in their art while I create and while I draw. But it's like, I don't want to post it. I don't want to whatever. Because I'm like, oh, people are going to think I'm just trying to hack the algorithm right now. Yeah. And it's frustrating because it's like, bro, I'm proud of this work.
Exactly.
So it really just depends on where it comes from, I think. But it's like, at the end of the day, I got to just do what I'm going to do and not worry about what people think, because I know why I'm creating something. And it is what it is. Like, I hate how much art is like, I don't even know how to explain it. Art is associated with just like,
give a synonym.
Like, it's different. It's just different than like other mediums. Art is so personal, and when what you put out like reflects on you in so many ways. Like, it just reflects. You know, people are dissecting your why. And I mean, that's the nature of it. Sometimes you want them to dissect your why, but other times it's like, can I just make something, ship it, put it out, and then move on to the next thing? And when I was learning, when I was in middle school, I was doing a bunch of portraits. Like, all I drew were celebrities. That's how I learned how to draw faces. Like, by drawing. Like, for me, since I wanted to learn realism, I wanted to draw recognizable faces so that people can look at it and validate that it looks like the person they know. So I want people to be like, oh, is that such and such? Then I'm like, okay, I did it.
Mine be looking like their nose is broken. But I definitely agree with you. I agree with you so hard, for me. Oh,
yo, I'm about to go through your Instagram. I need to look.
Look, so new. I'm not even on now. I took that out. It's in the archive. It will never see the light of day again.
Chill.
Have you felt that your creativity was limited at any point with maybe any projects that you've done, any commissions you've done?
Oh, okay. You mean like working with other people? Am my creativity being limited?
Yeah, it can be working with other people or just within your mechanism, your style?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, personally, I guess two-sided. So like personally, yes. I mean, it ebbs and flows. There are times when I'm just like in the pocket, I'm flowing well, and I have space, and I'm genuinely like, it's interesting how my brain works, because I'm genuinely like, I feel like I'm equally afflicted as I am dialed. Like I have like certain things that make life a lot easier for me than the average person. I feel like, just based off of what I've observed, there are a lot of things that I'm able to like just get past and flow through and like just understand. But then on that same vein, it's like, I think I'm just an artist. I'm just very sensitive. Like I'm just very sensitive. So like sometimes if I have any kind of personal blockages, it's going to show through my art. It's going to block my art. If I start thinking too much, like it's going to block my art. My mind is going too many places. Like energy is being spread out too thin. I can't even get into something. So yeah, definitely on a personal note, I experience blockages in that way. And then also just for me, what I'm working through right now, like this piece has been up on my wall for like a week and a half, because I haven't worked on it in like 4 days, because I get to a point, I get to a threshold, I get to a wall, and then I get bored. And then I have to like, what I'm doing right now is trying to work through those things. It's like trying to like go back to the wall, go back to the piece, and like work through them. So like, it just depends. And one of the things I do, like another one of my apparatuses to get through blockages, is that something I learned about me is that I can't resist an easy layup. That means if I set myself up for success, I'm gonna dunk it. Like if I really, so like today, like I meal prepped for like the week, and like that's why Sundays are my days to like reset everything, put everything exactly where it's supposed to be for Monday morning, so I can get up. My alarm's gonna go off at 4:30 in the morning. If I didn't set up my place, meal prep, there's no way I'm getting up at 4:30, because I'm just gonna wake up and be like, I didn't do anything. I'm just gonna want to stay in the bed. But like if I spend my whole day, and like I got up at 6 a.m., went and got groceries and haven't stopped since you got here, I like set up things, and I just like cleanse and optimize and whatever. When I set myself up like that, I can't resist an easy layup. So when 4:30 comes around, I'm gonna jump out of bed. Like I'm gonna be like, oh, I set myself up for this. I gotta dunk it. Like I gotta do it. And so that's how I support my creative practice. Like just even if I have a crazy night, like just cleaning everything, resetting everything, reset the paper and the pen, how I need it to be, so that when I get up in the morning, I feel inspired. I feel like, oh, this is waiting for me to create. Then I can do it. So like that's kind of how I work through those. And you asked if I felt like my creativity was like, I guess, limited.
Yeah.
With people in like projects. For sure, back when I did like more commissions, yes. In recent years, I haven't done a ton of commissions. I'm not really in like the commission space. Like,
let us all, because when I need the money.
Yeah. Yep, and that's how I was in college. Like, it was like a faucet I would turn on. Like, I was on average like making, like, let's say I was doing like little sketches. I make like $500 a month in college, and then I would just not do it. And then I'm like, shit, I need money. Like I need to pay my way. I need to pay for stuff. I didn't have a job, so then I'll like do a little bit of art again, like whatever, get a little $400 to buy pizza. Like that's what I did when I was 19. I really would prefer to just create the things that resonate with me, and if it resonates with somebody, possibly giving them that piece. Right. And if I do commissions, I'm open to them, but it's just like I have a huge commission in my room that I did, but that's because they gave me freedom. They gave me space. And so I know that I need that. I need that to be able to really work and flourish. So I did it then. But for more commercial projects, I have to really stay within the reins. Luckily, I've just lucked out. I've had very good like creative directors I worked with, like my friend Valeria Rocha. She's amazing, and like I worked with her on the El Secreto film poster, the first one, and I'm working with her on the second one right now.
I like that. Because when I think of film poster, I was thinking like designing it on Photoshop or Illustrator.
Oh yeah, no, they're cool because they want a drawing. Like, they want the story to be drawn, and I think that's cool. And I love working with them because they came to me because of my style. They came to me because of how I draw. And they're like, oh, we want you to do this. And like, it was actually amazing because I was struggling to do the first film poster because in my mind I felt like it needed to be perfect and exact to the mock-up that they designed. Mm-hmm. And they kept sending it back for another revision. And I was like, why? They were just like, because it doesn't feel like you. And I was like, okay. And they just kept saying like no, like do it like your other work, and I just couldn't get it for like 5 rounds of revision. I'm just like, what do they want? Like I was trying to figure it out, and they were just like, she had to keep coaching me and telling me that like no, like do this was just an example. We wanted you to take this and do it in your style. And I was just like, oh, okay. So then I was just like, wait a minute. And then I just started like, and I've had multiple accounts like this where I just like had to loosen up. Yeah. And then then they're like, yes, keep doing that. And then we finally got it.
I think that's the trauma from the commissions. That's what it
trauma. It's a trauma from commissions. It's a trauma from high school, the trauma from college, the trauma from people telling you and grading your art. Yep. And you feeling like it needs to fit within like such a specific margin. It's like, then when someone's telling you to loosen up, be free, it's like
what is that? I did want to touch on, so in my last interview that I did with Chris Clark, you brought up the point of creative block and how it's not necessarily a thing. It's the fact that you get bored with what you're currently doing and you need to switch it up. Do you think that's the case for you?
That's an interesting theory. So let me get this right. Chris's theory is that creative blocks are that.
Well, let me reiterate it. He heard it from a video.
Okay.
He was just pointing that out, how it's not real. So
interesting. So the theory, whether it's Chris's or anyone's, it sounds like the theory is that when you have a creative blockage, it's really like indicating that you need to change something. That's the idea?
Like change the workflow, change the medium.
Interesting. I like that theory. No, I haven't. I can see that being one of the reasons. So my take on everything is always going to be like kind of expansive. Sorry, it's never going to be that singular. Okay. But like my answer is that I think that there are a plethora of reasons for creative blockages. Like I don't think it's going to be the same cut and dry for anyone. Like I think I've had 10 different types of creative blockages for different reasons. I can totally see that being a valid theory, and I like adding that to my arsenal. But I think there are other reasons too. I think people can have creative blockages because maybe they're just holding on to something too tight. Like maybe they're thinking about something too much. Maybe they have different, like I mentioned before, maybe they have different motives that are conflicting or fighting with each other. And so you can't really go far in either direction. You're like chasing 2 rabbits and like catching none type situation. I think fear can be a reason. Anxiety can be a reason. I think wanting validation can be a reason. Like there's so many things that can cause a creative blockage outside of like just needing to switch something up. But in that same vein, I understand in the sense that like, even if there are all these reasons for a creative blockage, changing something could be the solution for a lot of creative blockages. Like my furniture was not rearranged this way this morning. Like it was completely like I have like two like chairs, like brown chairs that are normally here. This hammock is normally in my bedroom. Stuff is normally different. Like I said, I rearranged all my furniture in here today because I was feeling tension this morning. Like I went grocery shopping and I was in the store and I was just like feeling tension. And maybe you can even say that I've been having some creative blockages. Like I have periods where like I'm just buzzing around doing a bunch of stuff, being productive, but I'm not creating. So I go in waves. And in order to kind of recalibrate, I have to change things. Like I got to change stuff. Even if that's from like making a new routine, changing the medium, like everything in here moves. Like everything in here moves around completely, just like it's like my mind. Like if there was a time lapse, like over the past 2 years in here, it's just everything just moving around and random pieces being made and scrapped and like.
I'm happy you mentioned that because I don't think a lot of people think about how their spaces affects like their mind or their mental space. Like same thing with my bedroom. I have to change things constantly because if I don't, it doesn't feel, I don't want to say productive because it's a place of rest, but it just doesn't feel comfortable to me. It feels like tension, basically what you're saying. So I'm just happy you brought that up because I could take that away and I think they can too, like the idea of keeping your space going when you do feel that way and not being stuck.
Like 3 things. 1, I like that you refer to your bedroom as a place of rest, because one of my issues is that I make every place that I have a place of work. My car, my bedroom, like anything that I have, I bring work into it and need to keep those spaces sacred. So I appreciate that you said that. I have a video that I made on how to get out of a weird mood. And it was all about rearranging your furniture. It wasn't all about that, but like one of the main things was just like rearrange your furniture.
Yeah.
And I talked about how I would literally stand in one corner of the studio, just look out at it, let my vision blur, and feel like, where do I feel tension visually? And then I would go and I would try to fix or remove something, and I'll go back and stand and be like, does that feel better? Does that feel worse? And so I literally just try to do that. And once you leave, I'm going to continue doing that because I'm not done. Like, you came in while I'm like in the middle. So I'm going to finish that because I'm in a place right now where like, I don't want to see so much stuff. I want everything to be tucked away. The way energy works, it can become stale and it can just sit in one place for too long. Like, you have to change the visual cues that you have. Yeah. And for me, like even things like meal prepping is like changing how I'm going to spend my morning. Like it's changing, like it just changes everything. So
you said you don't necessarily have a place of rest. Well, you do, but you use a lot of your spaces for productivity. Do you find it hard to sometimes stop working? Being a creative person, sometimes we can always feel like we need to be doing something. That's how we feel productive, by doing things. But does productivity equal work all the time?
Good question. So I literally had to write in my notes. I wrote in my notes yesterday that it's a little essay I wrote. I just write I'm always creating, first of all. Like, I can't help it. So I'm always writing essays. So I wrote an essay called I'm Not Only As Good As My Outputs. And it's because I have formed a muscle memory around work equals value. What you do, how you show up, how you perform equals value, as if God or the source or the ancestors have some magnifying glass looking at me like, what are you doing with your free time right now? You know what I mean? And it's like, some of the new truths and ideologies that I've been working to program into my mind that I've been resisting. And I feel resistance when trying to make these new beliefs like stick. And the fact that I feel this resistance so heavily means like, okay, bro, I pinpointed it. Like, I gotta get this shit, I gotta lock this shit in. And it's this idea that like, okay, first of all, the universe is on your side. Like, I had to really like learn that like, I guess I got used to, you know, we watch stories and like the hero's journey, and it's like this idea that to progress through a plot, you have to be going through adversity and struggle and like pushing through things you don't want to do. And it's just like this idea that like, that's what character development is. That's what productivity and forward momentum is. It's like pushing through tension and like struggle. Like, you don't watch a movie and for 2 hours see somebody chilling in a hammock reading a book, because then it's like, what are you doing? So like, in a way, it's kind of programming us that something always has to be like propelling the plot forward, because like all these stories cut out all the dead air of just breathing and just germination and just rest. Like, we don't see that because it's not plot propelling. It's not like interesting. So then I had to recognize like a fallacy in my logic that I just had for so long. You know, I have goals, right? Like, I have things that I want to do in the world. I have impact. I have impacts that I want to have. And my impact goals, like my goals are rooted in love, right? My goals are things that I think the universe would want me to accomplish. And so one of the things I had to realize is that like, if my goals and my intentions are on the same frequency and the same vibration of like what the universe also wants to happen, why would the universe just like throw a bunch of obstacles and want to make it harder for me to get to it? Like, it's just like not logical that like, why would God or whatever you believe in, why would God be like, she's trying to get to where she's meant to be. Let me make it really hard. Like, let me just like keep giving you struggle and struggle and struggle. Like, yes, there are lessons and things we need to learn through and thresholds and ways we need to evolve, but I really think those are naturally positioned in our path for us to flow through them by just responding to life. Like, I think all of our personal paths, and this is getting really philosophical, but I think all of our personal paths are already like pre-programmed and coded to have all of the correct obstacles that you just need to respond to, like let life unfold and you respond accordingly and at the correct vibration that you feel is right, and you'll get to where you're supposed to go. But like, I was living a life where it's like, oh bro, it's like I'm low-key, like you're low-key finding problems to solve them because you feel like you're just supposed to keep pushing through, and it's one of those things that I've had to work to understand that, like, no, like just rest. It doesn't, like, it's hard for me to understand that I'm good when I'm not producing or performing. It's really been a difficult thing for me to like absorb. And I figured that out in the aftermath. Like, I'm genuinely like trying to attribute value to myself by just being here. But I noticed that sometimes like I don't feel like, it's a problem that like sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do or I'm valuable if I'm not creating new things.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote the other day, I was like, who is the artist when she's not creating? Like, if I'm just not creating anything, like, am I even here, bro? Am I even here?
Yes.
And it's a weird thing that, like, I mean, maybe not just artists, maybe people in general just think about. And then the one thing I'll add to that is that, like, I've been trying to, like, just force rest into my life where I'm like, okay, these next 5 hours, I'm gonna sit in this hammock and just exist. And every time I do it, I'm the most productive. Like, every time I do it, things come naturally, and then I flow into work naturally, versus sitting there trying to like make my brain like create something genius.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Yeah, we're gonna do this one. Okay, it's very broad, so it's your favorite. What is the best piece of advice you would give an artist or creative?
Okay. This is going to be like a repackaging of something I probably already said in this video, not going to lie. Advice I would give to an artist, one, I mean, disclaimer, I need advice, first of all. So like, disclaimer, like I'm figuring stuff out, but all right. Can I do multiple?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I get you're already going to be talking to Chris Clark, or you already have. But when I interviewed him like two and a half years ago, I asked him what advice he would give me, or as an artist or whatever, and it was just to do the work. We know that's his thing. I gotta pay tribute, because after my interview with him, I wrote that on my bulletin board, and it stayed there for like a year and a half as I started getting more into my art. And as all the time passed, it started to mean slightly different things for me. Like, the meanings got deeper and deeper and deeper. So I think just take that advice at surface level and let it mean whatever it means to you right now at the current space you're in. And then as you keep going, it'll mean something different. And it's like you need to do a different work. You need to do a deeper work, and then you keep going. And that's why I think that's great advice, because it's so basic and so general, but it's so layered, and it applies to anybody at any level, because its meaning evolves with you. Yeah. So I would say do the work, and then I'm gonna do my own. So I gave Chris his flowers, okay. But ultimately, like, I would say, like, I say it in like 5 different ways, but like I would say, like, find your apparatus, find your mechanism, find your way. Like, focus on the way. Like, don't focus on the outcome. Like, people say the process, which is like, sure. But like, I like to be more esoteric, sprinkly with it, and like the vibes, like focus on the way. Like, instead of thinking about, oh, who am I gonna be as an artist? Like, what is my stuff gonna look like? Like, if you're constantly just questioning, like, what is my way? What is my way? What is my way? You're like constantly bringing it back home, and then you naturally orient yourself to the process by asking, like when you approach anything, whether it's a song, whether it's a whatever, we can get so fixated on wanting to make something that's at a certain level, but that's skipping like 80 steps. And if you're just thinking about what is your way in this step, then what is your way in the next step? Like, and that's your only focus, eventually you'll end up somewhere. And then you can know with confidence that that's you, because you just focus on your way and not anything else. And then you can just end up somewhere, and people are like, oh, I love your style. And you're like, huh, like, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I do have a style. And I think that's the best way, because like, I don't think it would have felt as good if I had been trying to figure out a style, like trying to create a style. Like, it's just, I would just say focus on your way. But yeah. But thank you. I appreciate you coming and asking me all these questions. But next one, I'm interviewing you. There we go.
I need to prepare myself.
I hope this video was as eye-opening for you as it was for me during my conversation with Dezzy. If you're enjoying these artist interviews and you want to see more, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to keep the series going and bring more creative voices to the table. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.